way to do it. Well, good afternoon, Rattler Nation, and welcome into another episode of the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show with Kevin Guy. Folks, my name is Floyd Simmons, and again, good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. And we're going to dive into talking about how the Arizona Rattlers are doing as we approach the midpoint of the season. And the Rattlers coming off a big victory on Saturday over Massachusetts. Coach Guy, welcome into your show, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Floyd. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. I imagine it's been a busy week already to start what is going to be a big game this coming Saturday. Frisco Fighters coming into Phoenix, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But how has the week so far been shaping up for the Rattlers?
You know, we've had a pretty good week. It's our first time that we've been able to go a full week of practice in some time. We've had a lot of short weeks. This season, and I think our guys have handled it well. I kind of pointed this out a few weeks ago, but we're kind of in the meat of our schedule where, we had Frisco, then Tucson, then Massachusetts, and Frisco. So, we were playing a lot of the top teams in the league, 4 weeks in a row. So trying to get through that healthy and with wins is difficult, but, we are headed in the right direction.
As I look down the schedule as well, I mean, it's a tough 4 or 5 game stretch. But even beyond that, it just seems like it doesn't get easy for the Rattlers or really anybody in a league that has a lot of parity this year, the IFL. And as we get rolling on the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show with Coach Guy, let's look back. A big win on Saturday, welcoming in the Massachusetts Pirates, second time they've been in the venue. And the last time was one that we don't like to talk about, that championship game last year. An overtime loss to the Pirates. So chance for some vengeance on Saturday and also a chance to bounce back from the loss the previous week to Tucson. The Rattlers took care of business. 59-29 final score on Saturday, Coach. Let us know how happy you were with the performance of your team against the Pirates Saturday.
Well, we're always happy, when we get a win. But, I didn't really look at this as a revenge game, because the rosters are different this year than they were last year. There are some players that played in that game, but I really felt like Massachusetts was kind of coming into the perfect storm. They had to travel to the West Coast and play San Diego on a Monday night. They had a short week. They turned around and had to play us on Saturday, so they just stayed out in California last week. Arizona, we lost to Tucson the week before. Our guys in our locker room, they want to bounce back after a loss like that. Plus, we lost them in the championship game. So I think it was a perfect storm, that we had, going into that game. And everything just kind of went our way. We kind of jumped on them fast. I believe it was 14-3 at the end of the first quarter. Our defense came out and held them to 2 stops. I thought our defense bounced back really well. We didn't play well against Tucson. We didn't even show up, in that game. But we bounced back and stopped Massachusetts 7 out of 10 possessions. I count field goals as a stop, so they had to kick, I think, 3 field goals. But, I count those as stops, and we'll trade 7 for 3 all day. And I thought our guys came out and, set the tone on the energy level, and we really played well. We jumped on, I think, at halftime it was like 45 to, 13, 20, whatever it was, but we were in control at halftime.
Well, excellent points made, and on that defense, talking about a defense that didn't have its best game the week before in Tucson, gave up a ton of points, and did not get a lot of stops. Well, you just talk about 7 stops right there, and the first 2 possessions, by the way, for Massachusetts, resulted only in field goals. So the start was there for your team. The tone was set. Your team also, your defensive squad anyway, in addition to just overall playing tough, how about 2 scores on that defense? An interception, pick 6 return for touchdown in the middle of that defense. That was Brandon Ezell. And then the scoop and score after a fumble where Devontae Merriweather took it about the length of the field for a score for your defense. When you score twice, if your defense puts up points twice in a game, how tough is it to beat the Rattlers?
It's tough. I mean, in this game, when your defense, when you score on defense or special teams, it's tough to win, and it's tough for the opposing team to win, I should say. Our defense stepped up. I mean, Ezel made a great interception. That we had him backed up. We knew that he was going to have to get the ball out based on the type of defense that we were playing. He wasn't going to have a lot of time to hold the ball, and we played really aggressive. And Ezel, stepped in front of it, made a pick six. He needs to work on his flip. When he scored a touchdown, he didn't make it all the way around to land on his feet, but he needs to work on his flip. But he made a great play there, and then later on in the game, we had a great goal line stand. And before that happened, though, if you watch Trayvon Hill, okay, Trayvon Hill, the play before that, they had the ball at the other end of the field. He was trying to stop. I believe it was an inside zone. Missed the tackle, fell on the ground, got up off the ground, and ran down the field and saved a touchdown and tackled him on the 2-3 yard line. And then the next play, we stop him, scoop, and go score. And just the effort of Trayvon Hill, the play before, that put us in that position is why our defense was able to capitalize in that situation.
You're right about that. Great play, great hustle play, and not one that a lot of people are going to point to and say, wow, that was a defensive lineman who went downfield and made that play. We called that in the broadcast because it was so impressive. But it also, just kind of highlights a great overall night for that defense that we honored in the broadcast with the player of the game. We gave that to the linebacker, Trayvon Williams. But we could have given it to a number of different guys. We chose Trayvon. What did you think of his effort on Saturday?
Trayvon Williams has been a difference maker this year. He's playing at an all-league level. He was the difference. Why, in my opinion, that him not being on the field in the Tucson game, it contributed a lot to why we didn't win. Have a chance to win that game. And if he's healthy, he's going to be on the field moving forward. He's shown great leadership this year. And, Trayvon Williams is he learned the defense last year, but this year he's came back in such great shape, been making plays. His fits are where they need to be. He leverages the football, just overall hustles his tail off, and a great human being on top of that. He's been a great fit in the Rattler locker room. We love having him here, and certainly it's been a pleasure to coach him.
Head coach Kevin Guy is with us on the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show, and a recap on what was a terrific finish for the Rattlers. Again, the final score last Saturday night, 59-29. The Rattlers take down the Pirates, and the Pirates are still a very good team. A lot of talent on that side. They're working with a new head coach, so maybe still some adjustments are being made, but they are representative of the parity and the quality of play that there is in the IFL, coach. And when you beat a top-tier team like the Pirates, as you start to get this far into the season, we're right at that midway point. Does it tell you, or does it tell your team anything about who you are and who you want to be when you go down the stretch of the season?
Yeah, we want to be playing our best football when we go into the playoffs, and we're not there yet. I don't think this Rattlers team has played their best football yet, and we haven't peaked yet. That, sometimes a team can peak too early, and they're not peaking at the right time. But everything we do here, from the training room and the weight room, our lifting is all designed for us to peak right at playoff time. And just our training outside of football, right? It's all designed for us to peak at playoff time. And we haven't peaked, the last couple of years. We got beaten that championship game. We want to be peaking at the right time. So we made some changes to the staff, and I think we're heading in the right direction right now, but time will tell.
Coach Guy, on the offensive side of the ball, one of the things that stood out to me was I thought the play calling was terrific. Great job there. And there were a couple of play designs that I particularly liked. One play was you handed the ball off to Shannon Brooks. He ran it in uncontested for a touchdown. He went around the left side. It was basically a counter is how I would describe it. You can, maybe sketch out the play a little bit more in detail for us. But that's a play that if you've run that play here this season, forgive me for not paying close enough attention to have seen it before. I just thought you threw some new wrinkles at the Pirates I thought that was a great example of a great play design and a call in the perfect moment. The defense was flat-footed and had no answer for it. How about the play calling on Saturday?
Well, I seem to like it.
You'll take that.
I think I think it's two parts. I mean, yeah, we executed it, but I thought they also blew it. They blew a run assignment there. Anytime you're covering the inside-outside zone with any type of horizontal fly motion, or we do it with our back too. We call it 211, 212. But anytime you have that, it's like defending the option. It's assignment football. Somebody's got to be on the running back. Somebody's got to be on the quarterback. Somebody's replacing back to the box. There's a lot of moving parts, and in our defense, we can play the fly motion 5-6 different ways. We said that's one of the things that we rep a lot. So knowing that from coaching defense, how difficult it can be to play assignment football to defend the fly, we have it in our offense just for that reason. Is because we're attacking the eyes of the defense, we're attacking the discipline of the defense, and those plays have worked well for us.
Coach, I'm going to take you back to the week prior to the game, the week of practice. The report we got from you and from others on your coaching staff is that it was a great week of practice leading into Massachusetts. There was a lot of intensity. Coach Dixon talked about that intensity, and he thought that – I asked him, did anybody stand up? Did anybody kind of stand up and take responsibility and be accountable? He said everybody did. And he said there was a lot of intensity in the practice week leading up. You and I have talked before about the idea that, sometimes you have the best week of practice and play a terrible game, and vice versa. You can have a bad week of practice and play a great game. So practice week is no real indicator of just how good the game is going to go, but you had a great week and you finished off with a great game in a bounce back fashion. Can we talk about the where the team is and how they've responded to that loss a week and a half ago now, and how it's manifesting itself out on the practice field?
Well, everybody has different opinions of what they're seeing, and perceptions, right? So, for me, I did think we had a better week of practice. I'd like to see, I thought our leaders did a better job on the accountability side of trying to hold some guys, accountable. But, also it's mindset, right? If we're in the right mindset, we show up with the right energy, and we come to play Rattler football. I always tell them, hey, you got to play your A game. No matter who you're playing, you got to play your A game. Anything less, you can be beat. And, that includes turning the ball over, not executing assignments. So, again, we're a work in progress. It's week to week. Injuries happen all the time. And on a small roster, anytime you have an injury, it affects you more than just in that one position. So, when you have a small roster, every one of these guys play special teams. It affects you. You have a substitution that you got to make on special teams and on offense and defense. So there's a lot that goes into it, and we continue to have some little lingering injuries that's aggravating, but at the same time it's an opportunity for someone to get a chance to go in and perform and show what they can do. And I think in the long run it's going to make us a stronger team. It's just frustrating when you're having to go through it and coach those guys up and obviously they got to take some ownership and be a self-starter and be ready for the opportunity when the phone rings, because I see so many times players miss out on those opportunities because they're not ready when the phone rings, and it's just human nature. A lot of them want to wait till something happens and then there's a reaction, right? No, you got to be out in front of it and you got to be ready. So that's kind of where we're at. That's what we're kind of preaching, and hopefully they get the message.
Well, it seems like that's a level of expectation that is all a part of the formula that makes the Rattlers such a model franchise in the IFL. Coach, your special teams. There's a couple of names on that special teams unit that really made some plays on Saturday. One of those guys, and that number 13, Braxton Haley, has seemingly been making plays all season long on special teams. I love how a receiver can come out and be so aggressive and bonsai charge down the field on kick coverage and make plays, and he does that for you. He had another good special teams day, I thought, on Saturday. He also got into the end zone, by the way, for your offense a couple of times. But JT Stokes, he came out, and JT Stokes seemed like he was ready to earn a spot in the rotation and get some time on the field. He was out there flying around for you on special teams as well. Did I get that right? And did you feel like those two guys, maybe others on your special teams units, showed up to play on Saturday?
No, we felt JT Stokes did a really good job, especially on kickoff coverage. He had some returns. And I thought he took advantage of the opportunity. He hasn't played in a while. He was injured in training camp and was on the IR list for several weeks. And, he finally got to feeling better and was clear to play. And we gave him an opportunity. And, I thought he came out and gave us some really quality minutes. Now he's just going to focus on trying to build off that. But yes, special teams was a big part of our game plan going into that. Coach Jernigan does a nice job with the special teams. And, if you look, I think for the first time this year, we were 100% on extra points and field goals. And our operations has been terrible the whole season. Just our extra point and field goal operations. And I thought that everything was clean last Saturday night, and Ernesto Lacayo, he really stepped up and focused and did what he needed to do.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show with Kevin Guy, everybody. Coach, here come the Frisco Fighters. They are number 2 in the IFL coaches poll rankings right now. I think deservedly so. A big win this past weekend over Iowa, 20-point, or right at a 20-point victory. I think 18 points the win for them. On Saturday, they come in as the top team in the Eastern Conference, and they're going to be a formidable opponent. Let's talk about your matchup on this coming Saturday night against Frisco.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they do to make some changes, if they change at all. We turned the ball over 5 times last time we played. We felt very fortunate to get out there with a win. They're a very talented team, and I'm sure that they feel that they let one, get out of their building. And so, they're a pressure team just like we are. They like to pressure you with the blitz. They're going to play man coverage behind you and pressure you and kind of force you into mistakes. So they're going to pin their ears back and rush the passer. They got a very talented D-line. So, they're built for a playoff team and built, to go and compete for a championship. And, offensively, same thing. They can stretch the field. They got quarterbacks that are very athletic. They can run the ball. Really like the Blake Sims kid, out of Alabama. Very tough kid. And their O-line, they've been exceptional this year. So we got to work it out for us. So again, no 2 games are alike. They're always different, and the circumstances are different. So what happened last time has nothing to do with what happens this time. The matchups are going to be different because, both teams have went through some injuries. And it's going to come down to who can handle those adjustments and who's the best team on that day.
Well, Coach, I could ask you about the game plan. I'm quite sure you're not going to open up the playbook to me or give me any of the details on new wrinkles you're going to throw at Frisco. But I will ask you about personnel and see what you'll offer us there. Anything different, new, anything we ought to keep in mind? I know that Jared Harrington has been inching his way back toward playing time. What's going to be going on? Any changes that we ought to be aware of coming up on Saturday?
No. I'll probably let you know on game day. Okay. I'm not going to give it out here on a live audience, what we're doing, but we always got a few little adjustments that we may try to make. And, but I like this team. I like this locker room. I like what their work ethic and they believe in one another. You can see that. And so, again, we got a work cut out for us. Frisco is going to be a tough team to beat. We know that. And, when you're playing a team that likes to pressure you, you can't there's not a lot of room to blink. You know, you got to not make mistakes and make sure you're taking care of the football and things like that. We didn't do a good job doing that last time we played them. So hopefully we learned our lesson, we grow from it, and we put a better product on the field this week.
Well, if your guys jump out, if they jump out early like they did on Massachusetts, they get that lead, get a couple of touchdown lead early on in the game. Do you feel like that is, well, your team is a great front-running team. You play well with a lead, and not everybody can do that. Does that say something about the way the coaching is approached with the team, or does it say something about the psychology of the players? Not everybody can play well with the lead, and your Rattlers team does that very well.
Well, you just used the right word, you know, front runners. We don't want to be known as front runners. So we want to make sure that we're built to play both ways, whether, you know, we want to get into a track meet with other team or we want to play in a phone booth. It doesn't matter. We got to be built to play both ways. And that, you know, to me, those are the teams that are successful in the playoffs. You know, and I just want to make sure that we see enough adversity. You know, you don't hear a lot of coaches say that much, but I want to see a lot of adversity before we can get to the playoffs. So when we get to the playoffs, we can keep our poise and play together and see if we can't go and compete for a championship.
Lamar Mady, how's he doing?
Doing great. He was at practice today. Looked good. So
good. We saw him escorted off the field, dinged up in the Massachusetts game, and of course, always pulling for him to be okay. So that's a good piece of news. That's 100% for sure. All right, Coach, before we wrap it up, can we do a little get to know your coach, Guy? Are you ready for this?
Sure, fire away.
Here we go. It's all about game day preparation for you. And I want to ask you, it's a two-part question. It's game day preparation when you were a player and also now as a coach. Is there and was there a go-to game day meal for you? That meal that you had to have, your favorite one, okay? So as a player, as a coach, talk about game day meal prep.
You know, I'm a big breakfast guy. So I like to wake up, but on game day, I try to get a little workout in, get some cardio in. I usually go back and watch some film on game day just to remind me, get my, because after Thursday's practice, Fridays is just meetings, and then you play Saturday, and you got some time, some downtime there. So I always go back to watch some film, kind of refresh my memory of, get my mind thinking. It's also a way to get the stress out at the end of the week, get ready for the game, and relax. But I'm a big breakfast guy, so I'm eggs, grits. I'm a Southern boy. I like my grits, I like my bacon. And the eggs, they can be over medium, or we can do a omelet. So either way, but I like to throw some fruit in there, and then I'm ready to go. And if it's a special game, you got to throw in the biscuit and gravy. I'm all over.
Oh yeah. Here we go. But how about this? I'm going to throw something on you that you may not know that I'm aware of. Okay, because I've got one of my best buddies is a North Carolina guy. Country ham, right?
Yeah. You should go to my mom's house. They're like as big as steaks. The country ham.
Yeah. And salty as can be. Okay, you want your sodium? Get you some country ham. You're going to get all the sodium you want. All right, Coach. Hey, listen, good stuff. Appreciate you, and continue to have a great week of practice. Good luck to you and the guys. We'll catch up with you on Saturday as you take on the Frisco Fighters. All right.
You got it. Appreciate it, Floyd. Thank you.
All right, Rattler Nation. Remember the big game, Saturday night kickoff, 6:05 p.m. at the Footprint Center, downtown Phoenix. It is going to be the Arizona Rattlers taking on the Frisco Fighters. The Rattlers with that 7-1 record. That Fighters team, a 2-loss record coming in. This will be a clash of titans, two of the top teams in the IFL this Saturday at the Snake Pit. Join us for the broadcast and join us for the game live on hand.